Welcome to The Bottom Line. I'm Pastor Rick Utze from Maranatha Community Fellowship in Plain City, Ohio. I read about another world speed record that was set just in the last few days, or at least I saw it in the last few days, and it had to do with a woman on a bicycle. She set the speed record, and you're never going to guess, unless you have seen this article, how fast she went on a bike. And it was on level ground, flat ground. And she went 183.9 miles an hour. And you're thinking, how can that be? Like me on my bicycle, if I get above 30 going down a hill, I'm going fast. She averaged for a mile 183.9 miles per hour. And the only way she could do that, right, is if she was in the Slipstream. So she was behind a race car, a dragster, with this kind of like cage around it, and she was riding right behind it in the Slipstream and had a camera on her. Go on YouTube and look it up. It's kind of fascinating. It was geared so high that they had to tether her bike to the dragster, take off, and she had to be going 100 miles an hour before they could untether it so that she could pedal and get this thing going. And so, you know how dangerous that is, though? She's got to stay within this close enough, right, to the dragster, because if she gets back too far, she's no longer in the Slipstream, and all of a sudden she's got 184 mile an hour winds, probably going to knock her and catapult her right backwards, right? And so you can see her pedaling and kind of going forward and backward, trying to stay in this Slipstream. And for a mile she had to do that, right? She averaged that kind of speed. That's amazing to me, right? But could she have done that on her own? Like, without the dragster, without the super powerful car in front of her, could she, on her own, power that bike to 184 miles an hour? Not even close. And it reminds me of Isaiah 40 in the Bible, where it talks about our incomparable God and His power and His knowledge. And the setting of that was, it was written 130 years before Israel was taken captive. And it's because they worshipped idols. That they worshipped of things that had no power, like nothing. As a matter of fact, it says in Isaiah 40, 18 to 20, it says, with whom can you compare God? And that's in verse 18. And it talks about people who go out and they try and make pedestals for these idols so they don't topple over, right? That's how dumb idols are. I mean, you got to have something, skilled craftsmen making a base so an idol doesn't fall over, and you're worshiping this thing, right? And so, but God wrote this 130 years before they were taken captive, so the captives could read it and understand that God is all powerful and caused Babylon to come in and take them captive, so they would learn to rely on God, and they never again served wooden or golden idols or objects anymore. And so God was trying to teach them to rely on Him. And it talks about, if you go down farther in that verse, and it's the verse a lot of us understand about eagle's wings, but God says, Jacob, why do you say, and Israel, why do you assert my way is hidden from the Lord, and my claim is ignored by God? It says, do you not know, have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the whole earth. He never becomes faint or weary. There is no limit to His understanding. He gives strength to the faint and strengthens the powerless. Youths may become faint and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who trust in the Lord, now here's the result of trusting in the Lord. Here's the result of trusting in the one who has all power. It says, will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not become weary. They will walk and not faint. You know, this is the person who trusts in the Lord. That is the result of the person who trusts in the Lord. Like God, you can't compare anything to Him. And so here's the bottom line. If we try and do it in our own strength, our own power, our own wisdom, what do we do? Well, we just got to hope we don't topple over. Just like those, gods that they worshiped other than the living, true God. And we don't want to topple over, right? God promised that if we trust in Him and know that His way is the right way and not ours, and that He has the power to get us through, right? So we can't do it on our own power, but just like that roadster, that that race car has all this power, and if the person riding the bicycle stayed behind in the slipstream, it could do things it could never hope to do before. That's what God says. Trust me. I am all powerful, way more than the race car, right? And so if you stay with me, you will accomplish things that are beyond your control. So don't worry and say, no, not that way. No, I can't. No, those people are in the way. He says, no, follow me. Stay in step with my Spirit, and I will accomplish things in my power through your weakness. So let's trust in an almighty, incomparable God. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time on The Bottom Line.